Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 117 of Cameron Sports Podcast. This shows here Cameron Lindsay. I'm back with a brand new episode. Today's episode is going to be my Week 2 NFL game picks and predictions. And also talking about, Week 1 a little bit. It was a really good Week 1. It's glad to have the NFL season back. Missed it since the Super Bowl. But we back. NFL football is back. And, regardless of who team is who, I'm just glad to watch some football on all levels, high school, college, and NFL. Of course, NFL being my favorite. Some people may disagree with, and say college, but mine is NFL. But, I'm here with my Week 2 game picks. Of course, starts with Thursday Night Football, which is today, Thursday, September 11th at 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime between the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers. Let's get right into this matchup. So this is two teams, elite teams in the NFC. The Commanders went to the NFC Championship game last year with a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who balled out all season, and there was no doubt he was Offensive Rookie of the Year. The Packers, made the playoffs last year, but got beat by Philadelphia, the eventual Super Bowl champions. Got an elite running back in Josh Jacobs, but, they had some questions at receiver. They got a whole bunch of number 2 receivers, no number 1 receiver that really stands out. So they went in this year's NFL draft, the 2025 NFL draft, and selected their first wide receiver in over, I believe, 20 years, Matthew Golden out of University of Texas. He's number 0, so like I said, if you're not a Packers fan, that's who Matthew Golden is. Plays for the Packers, rookie out of Texas, whereas number 0, wide receiver. But the Packers offseason doesn't stop there. Got Golden. As we got closer to the season last week, about a week or two prior to the season starting, the Packers traded for linebacker / defensive end Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys, which is a big move. Makes their defense better. Now, I said I wouldn't automatically put them as Super Bowl favorites or the top seed in the NFC or even the second seed, because you still got the Detroit Lions, you got the Commanders, the Rams, but the Packers beat the Lions. They dominated them last week at home. Granted, it's an early season, it's week 1, but they did a great job. Michael Parsons had a sack. He looked good. That Packers defense looked good. The run game looked good. Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love looked good. So, we'll see. Now, I believe the winner of this game would automatically tell us who's better. Because, I've seen through the offseason a little bit of, who's better, the Packers or the Commanders. And I think this game would tell us who's the better team, who's the second best team behind the Eagles. And, yes, I say the Eagles are still the best team. I know their secondary look a little bit iffy, but it's the first game of the season. You're playing an NFC East rival, the Dallas Cowboys, who got really good receivers, like CeeDee Lamb's a top 5 receiver. You got a really good number 2 in George Pickens. And Dak Prescott is a top 12 NFL quarterback in the league. Even though, not the biggest fan of him, but I respect Dak. He's a good quarterback. He may not be elite, but he's good. He's really good. But I think the winner of this game would automatically, in my opinion, be the second best team in the NFC. Like I said, both Commanders and the Packers beat the Detroit Lions the past, year or so. Commanders beat them in the playoffs. Packers beat them last week in week 1. And, like I said, I believe the winner of this game will end up, might end up in the NFC Championship game. Because, with the Rams, Matthew Stafford, will he stay healthy the whole season? Because he had back issues all offseason. The Detroit Lions, they lost both their coordinators, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And they looked real bad in week 1. Granted, it's only week 1. So, and honestly, the second team I think going to make the NFC Championship game is the Eagles. I just think they're the best team, and I expect the Eagles to most likely be in the NFC Championship game. And so I think the matchup between these two teams probably will end up in the NFC Championship game. But that being said, my prediction, I'm going Packers 27-20. I think it'll be pretty close. I think Jaden Daniels going to have a good game. But I think the Packers are going to come out, especially with that defense. And Michael Parsons will be a difference maker. That Packers defense has been really, really good. It could be a lower score game than this, but I think 27-20 sounds about right. So I'm going Packers. Next up, like I said, going on to Sunday, we got our Sunday games. Starting off with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver slash DB Travis Hunter in his debut had 6 catches, 33 yards, and 1 tackle. He played 45 snaps total, which is good. I expected him to have something like that, like not too crazy. Maybe play like 45, 50, maybe 60. Maybe have like a couple catches for like 50 some yards. So nothing too bad, and probably have one tackle or two. Nothing crazy because it's only week 1. It's not about playing all the snaps he wants the first game. It's about later in the season. Like as the season gets later on, then you can have him play more of those snaps because you might be trying to make the playoffs, win your division. So, and it's been reported, Liam Cohen, the Jaguars head coach, said that this week they expect they will have Travis Hunter play more on defense. It increases snaps on the defensive side of the ball because they're going to be going against the Bengals and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. You could argue that point blank. I wouldn't argue it, to be honest. Maybe you can make a case for Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Them the only two, but I do also expect him to play a little bit more on the defensive end. Not saying he's not going to play offense, but increase his role on the defensive end going against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I probably would expect him to probably be more on T. Higgins, maybe a little bit more, like I said, because he is listed as a backup DB. So he probably may end up on T. Higgins a little bit more to start off more in the game. I'm not so sure. We probably going to see him more on Jamar Chase yet. But yeah, the Bengals did struggle against the Browns week 1. Shockingly, their defense played okay, but again, that's the Browns offense. But the Browns defense looked good. Myles Garrett looked amazing. He had 2 sacks back to back. At this point, I think Myles Garrett might win Defensive Player of the Year again. I know Pat Surtain did last year, but Myles Garrett looks like he ain't skipped a beat. Like there's no question he's the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion. Like it's just there's no debate for that. But I'm going Bengals 26-16. I just think I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence all the way there yet. Like I said, he had a decent so-so game against the Panthers. Nothing crazy. I think he had 170 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And, I just think, I know he got Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, but, I don't know. It's just Trevor Lawrence has just been disappointed since he left college. But I think the Bengals will win this game, go 2-0. Like I said, go off to 2-0. A way better start they had the past couple years where they started 0-2 almost every single year. But I'm going Bengals over the Jaguars. Next up, we got the Rams versus the Tennessee Titans. Rams coming off a win against the Texans, 14-9, low scoring. Titans struggled on the road against Denver against that elite defense led by Patrick Surtain. And, Cam Ward, he did struggle in that game. It's okay. Of course, wide receivers dropping the ball, but he's a rookie. I kind of expected that going against Denver, your first game at Mile High, against that defense with Patrick Surtain, Greenlaw, Funga, that pass rush, yeah, I kind of expected that, going against Denver. So the Rams is going to be just as bad too. That defense, that pass rush, Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk, that Rams defense is pretty good too. So I think he's going to have a little bit rough also against the Rams. I'm going Rams 31-10. I think their offense is going to play better. I think Matthew Stafford is going to play better. Of course, you got Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and Kyron Williams. I expect that Rams offense to be much better, and I think their defense is going to dominate the Titans in this game. Next up, got the Patriots and Dolphins. Dolphins offense only put up 8 points in a 33-8 loss against the Indianapolis Colts. I was shocked. I thought it would be a blowout. If you watch my Week 1 episode, I said I expect the Dolphins to blow them out. I did not expect the Dolphins to have Daniel Jones looking like the second coming of Peyton Manning. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this man, it's like they having Daniel Jones looking like he resurrected his career already. Like, remember if you're an NFL fan, you remember when Ryan Tannehill was with Miami and Miami released him or traded him. I forgot which one it was. and he ended up in Tennessee after Marcus Mariota, was struggling. He took over and pretty much resurrected his career, and it ended up taking over as a starter. Some people think that, like Dan Jones, all right, cool. He gets released from New York and ends up, of course he went to Minnesota last year. After that, now in Indianapolis. If that happens, I think Anthony Richardson, they probably might end up trading him. I'm not gonna lie, and that would suck for him. But I gotta give it to the Colts. Their defense looked good. Tua looked awful. Multiple turnovers, multiple fumbles, an interception, multiple interceptions. I believe. Yeah. I don't know. I think Mike McDaniel might be coaching for his job. I'm not gonna lie. I can see him getting fired. I see the Dolphins trading Tyreek. They could maybe trade Tua. If they trade Tyreek, please trade him to my Chargers. Oh man, I saw somebody like Instagram, one of the shows with athletes, and they was talking about what if Tyreek went back to Kansas City? What if he went to the Chargers? Imagine him and Justin Herbert, that speed, Justin Herbert's arm. Woo! I ain't gonna lie, we might go to the Super Bowl then with that, with Tyreek, Lad McConkey, Keenan. Oh my, woo! I ain't gonna lie, we probably will have to trade somebody. I wouldn't mind trading Quentin Johnston, even though he's getting better. It's just with the drops. At least with Tyreek, I kind of know like Tyreek's gonna catch him 9 times out of 10, especially with that speed. But I'm going Dolphins 20-14. It took me a while to go back and forth. It would not surprise me if the Patriots won. I don't trust that Miami Dolphins defense. I know they traded for Mika Fitzpatrick, a former Dolphin they drafted years ago, but he asked for trade to Pittsburgh, and he's back in Miami. I just don't trust the Miami defense. I don't know how the offense is going to look, but the Patriots, they struggled in Week 1 against the Raiders at home. It's not easy to play in Miami, especially early this time of the year. I think it's going to be close, but I might have to go Miami. If it was in New England, I would go the Patriots. I would definitely go Patriots, but it's in Miami. I'm going to have to go the Dolphins 20-14 in a close one. Next, I got the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets. Buffalo coming off a comeback win against the Ravens, 41-40. The Jets losing in a close one to the Steelers, putting up 32 points, only losing by 1 point. Now their defense, going to have to do better and not give up that many points, but the offense looked pretty good. Justin Fields looked good. People, and people making fun of him for not throwing. What can he throw the ball? He's not a good thrower. He looked pretty good to me. I'm not gonna lie. I was impressed. Their running game, I was impressed by the Jets. And I think they should have won that game. I think a penalty really kind of killed them. And a turnover on special teams killed them from winning that game against Pittsburgh. But that was a good game. But with that being said, I just think the way Josh Allen looked in that game against the Ravens, he looked like an animal, like a demon, like a dude possessed. It's like he winning MVP, getting married in the offseason has even motivated him to be even better. Like I told my father-in-law, future father-in-law, I said they could end up in the Super Bowl, and they really could because their schedule is very favorable. They don't have a hard schedule. Their hardest game probably is the Ravens right there. But like I said again, they do gotta win when it matters most. Can it beat teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals in the playoffs when it matters most? The regular season, the Bills are going to win. They're going to dominate. They're probably going to be the number 1 seed. I do got them winning this game 27-23 against the Jets. I think it'll be a close one. They're AFC East rivals. It's going to be interesting. I would not be surprised if the Jets won this game, but I'm going Bills. I trust Josh Allen more than I do Justin Fields, but I am proud of Justin Fields. He played amazingly. And I do expect another good game from him, possibly against the Buffalo Bills, but I trust Josh Allen more. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns 0-1 taking on the Ravens, who are also 0-1. One thing I got to say is, can the Ravens defense bounce back after giving up 41 points to the Bills? Like, that's bad. That secondary was bad. Jair Alexander didn't play well. Marlon Humphrey. Kyle Hamilton was okay. He played okay, but still, you got to do better. Their pass rushing was able to get that much pressure. And it's like I said, like Shannon Sharp said on on Nightcap with Ocho, the Ravens giving up multiple double-digit leads the past couple of years is bad. Last year, they gave it to the Raiders. They can't be going up 15 plus points and ended up blowing the lead and losing like that. They gotta run the ball. When you're running the ball and dominating, I know Derrick Henry had that fumble. That's on him. He took accountability for that, which I like. I love that. And I know he's gonna be better. Like I said, because even with age, even with him being 31 years old as a running back, he's still Derrick Henry. He's still a dominant running back. I think the Ravens will bounce back. Especially going against the Cleveland Browns. With Joe Flacco at quarterback, this will be the first time he plays the Ravens as a visitor quarterback going at Baltimore. The Browns defense will be good, but I don't trust their offense. So I'm going Ravens 28-17. I think they'll bounce back in this win against the Browns. And they'll fall to 0-2. The Ravens will get their first win of the season. Next up, we got the Giants 0-1 taking the Cowboys 0-1 at NFC East showdown. Now, a lot of things going around saying, should the Giants start Jackson Dart? Because he only put up 6 points against the Commanders. They lost 21-6. And I'm not going to lie, Jackson Dart in the preseason looked really good. I know it's the preseason, but he looked really good. And I think he deserved to be named, the backup quarterback, second on the depth chart. And I have to say, if Russell Wilson struggles again this week, or that offense struggles to put up points, I think we'll see we might see Jackson Dart probably during the game against the Cowboys. If it's bad by halftime, I can see Jackson Dart starting in the second half. I can see that, but I think he definitely will start probably by week 3. But after this week, I can see it. It may be over for Russ. I hate to see it, but he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't care what nobody says. You can't discriminate what Russ did in Seattle. And he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. If you say he's not, you just don't know football. You're just talking just to talk. But I'm going Cowboys 35-14. The reason why, because Dak always does very well against the Giants, really against the NFC East in general. And if he can have a good game against the Eagles secondary, he for sure can have against the Giants. I know the Giants got a talented pass rush with Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. Now that Giants pass rush is going to be deadly, and maybe they can keep them in the game for a while with that pass rush because the Cowboys' offensive line is not that good, losing some players. But that secondary, yeah, they're going to need some work. But I'm going Cowboys 35-14. They still got the Bears and the Lions. Lions losing to the Packers. Bears blowing the lead against the Vikings. I'm going to go Lions 29-13. I think the Lions bounce back against the Bears. Having a rough Alvin in Green Bay. Caleb Williams, I don't know if he'll bounce back, because now you're going against Detroit, against that defense led by Aiden Hutchinson. They're going to be motivated. They're going to be mad. I expect the Lions to bounce back against the Bears. Next up, 49ers and Saints. Little news, George Kittle will be out multiple weeks with an injury. And now I just found out earlier this morning that Brock Purdy will miss at least 3 to 4 weeks due to an injury. So that means backup quarterback Mac Jones will be starting for the 49ers this weekend and going forward. Now, I'm not going to lie. I already got the score 17-7. I had the 49ers written down, but it kind of got me nervous now. But then again, I just don't trust the Saints offense. Spencer Rattler, I trust Kyle Shanahan more than I do Kellen Moore. I think the 49ers will do enough. Mac Jones is not a terrible quarterback. I think they'll do enough. They still got Christian McCaffrey, and Ricky Pearsall. They got him, so it's gonna be rough. They're gonna have to lean. They're gonna have to lean on Christian McCaffrey. I think he's gonna have to lead them to a victory in this game, which is putting a lot on him as a running back. I got 49ers 17-7. I'm gonna stick with my original pick. I'm not confident in it due to the fact that 49ers are injury prone and they're missing multiple players, but you still got that defense. I just don't trust the Saints offense. Next up, Seahawks and Steelers. Seahawks 0-1, Steelers 1-0. Week 1, Aaron Rodgers looked very good against his former team, the New York Jets. He went 22-30, 244 yards, 4 touchdown passes, no picks. Now, I will say, can the Steelers defense play better? They did give up 32 points against the Jets, which is, rare. But, again, Jets played very well. I'm going to go Steelers 23-16. I think Aaron Rodgers, as long as the Steelers put up 21 or more points, most of the time they always win. So I think they're going to at least put up at least 23. Beat the Seahawks at home. TJ Watt's going to be a factor. You got Jalen Ramsey, who made a game-winning hit last week against the Jets against Garrett Wilson. That, crucial fourth down, big hit. He's still in the elite corner. So I expect the Steelers defense to step up better than they did last week against the Jets. Next up, got the Broncos 1-0 against the Colts 1-0. Again, Daniel Jones against the Dolphins went 22 of 29, 272 yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 passing. He looked very well against the Dolphins, but then again, that Dolphins defense is horrible. It is bad. The Denver defense is much better, led by Patrick Surtain. So he's gonna be guarding Michael Pittman Jr. So they're gonna take away their number one receiver right there. Of course, they still got Tyler Warren, but you got Greenlaw, Funga. So I think it's gonna be a better, harder game for the Colts. I know Bo Nix struggled. I know other podcasts like Pick a Side. Shout out to them boys on Pick a Side podcast. Some of them do love Bo Nix. One's a Denver fan. I'm going to say this. Even though I'm a Chargers fan, I'm not going to give up on Bo Nix. I know he had one bad game. I'm not saying he's going to be elite. I don't know that yet. I got to see another after this season and maybe heading to his third year, I could say, will he be elite? But, it's one bad game. I'm not going to dunk Bo Nix. Could he have a sophomore slump? Possibly, yes. C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump last year. But I still consider C.J. Stroud borderline elite. So I'm not going to give up with Bo Nix, but I got Denver winning 20-13 against the Colts. Panthers, Cardinals, not too much to talk here. I'm going to go Cardinals 24-17. I hope Bryce Young plays better. I was disappointed that the Panthers didn't put up more points and struggled against that Jacksonville Jaguars team. I mean, not Panthers. Cardinals 24-17, against the Panthers. I think they'll play better, but I'm still going Cardinals in this win over the Panthers. Next up, Eagles 1-0. Chiefs 0-1, a Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Carter will play in this game after spitting on Dak Prescott. The NFL fined him a game check of over $57,000. The reason is he won't miss this game is because he didn't even play a down in that game. When he spat on Dak Prescott, it was after kickoff before a play even happened. So, hey, it is what it is. If you're mad about it, I can understand. But, I'm glad he's playing, even though that was a dumb, idiot move. Like, come on, why spit on the other man? That's dumb. If that was me, I'm not gonna lie, I would lose it. Like, because that's disrespecting somebody. You basically saying they're lower than dirt. And I saw the video saying that saw Dak spitting. He said Dak's not that kind of person to spit at Jalen Carter. He was spitting at the ground. I do believe him. Even though I don't like the Cowboys, mostly the fans, I don't think Dak was trying to spit on Jalen Carter. Now, the Chiefs will be out the top 2 wide receivers, Rashee Rice, who's still serving a suspension. 6 games, so he got 5 more games to go. Xavier Worthy looks like he's going to be out. I don't know how long. It just says he's not going to need season injury, and the Chiefs are not going to put him on short-term IR. So, but I don't think he's probably going to. If he does play, he might not be all the way 100% with that shoulder that he hurt against my Chargers, and he was out for the rest of the game. But I'm going Eagles here, 27-24. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be a blowout like the Super Bowl because you're playing at Kansas City. I think the Chiefs will be a little bit motivated, especially losing to my Chargers, the way they lost in the Super Bowl. But I think the Eagles are going to win this game. Land on Saquon, Jalen Hurts with his legs. A.J. Brown is going to play better. I think Devontae Smith is going to play better. And I think it'll be a close game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Next up, Sunday Night Football, Falcons-Vikings. Falcons coming off a close loss to the Buccaneers. Vikings, J.J. McCarthy led a comeback win against Chicago Bears. I ain't gonna lie, JJ look like the real deal. I'm not gonna lie. I can see why there's a little hype around JJ McCarthy. He played well. He impressed me. He looked very, very good. We watching that game and watching most of it. He looked really, really good. I'm not gonna jump too much on the bandwagon and say the Vikings are gonna go to the NFC Championship game or win the NFC North, but he looked good. And I'm gonna go Vikings 21-14. 2 second-year quarterbacks, Michael Penix Jr., JJ McCarthy going at it. I think it'd be a good game. But I'm going Vikings to get the win, a touchdown over the Atlanta Falcons. Next up, we got 2 Monday Night Football games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Houston Texans. I'm going Buccaneers 28-20. I just think, Baker Mayfield, they're more of a complete team. The Houston Texans, their offensive line is terrible. Tank Dell is going to injury. Stephon Diggs not there. Nico Collins he's there, but they won't have Joe Mixon for a while. He's on IR, I think, on the PUP list, IR 1 and 2. And that had the offensive line looked bad against the Rams. Their offense did. So I think they'll play better, but I still think the Bucs are going to come out the win over the Rams. Next up, also again Monday Night Football. My Chargers taking on the Raiders. Like I said, it's Raider week. My dad's a Raider fan, so I talk a little trash to him. I'm probably going to still talk a little trash to him. I'm proud of let me say this. Even though I put the Chiefs over my Chargers, I'm proud of my team. We won. I was cheering my heart out. It made my day at work. I was very happy with my team. Justin Herbert, player of the week for my Chargers. Like I said, I'm covering my Chargers all season. Quinyon Johnson looked good. He had over 70 yards. Keenan Allen, 70 yards. Larry McConkey, 60, 70 yards. All three of them had at least 60-plus receiving yards. Keenan Allen had a touchdown catch. Quentin Johnson had 2 touchdown catches. Now, we need to run the ball better. Now, with this being a Monday Night Football game and against a division rival on the road, I think this will be close. But I think we're going to come out with the win. We're going against Max Crosby. That's going to be nervous because we don't have Rashawn Slater. But I trust Joe Alt. He looked good against Chris Jones, and I expect him to look good against Max Crosby. I hope so. But I really want us to run the ball better with Amari Hampton, our rookie running back out of North Carolina. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. I expect him to play better. I expect Justin Herbert to be Justin Herbert and ball out like he does. Because he's a top 10 quarterback, really top 5. I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm not going to take Justin Herbert disrespect. He balled out against the Chiefs. He outplayed Mahomes. When it was clutch, it was 3rd and 14. Justin Herbert, under pressure, goes right, running, took the ball, running with the ball, gets the first down, slides, stays in bounds. Clutch right there. For people who say Justin Herbert is not clutch, he's a social media quarterback, and now you want to get on the bandwagon, nah, it's too late for that. Keep the same energy you did. Exactly. So that's my quarterback. I'm going my Chargers 24 to 17 over the Raiders. Let's go prove the 2-0. Because we coming. We coming. Now, don't be wrong. I'm not going to overlook the Chiefs. But, hey, we coming. We coming. Week by week, game by game, one game at a time. I'm not overlooking no opponent. We coming. As long as we can stay healthy, God forbid, nothing happens to Justin Herbert or our offensive line again, I think we have a chance to win the division. Possibly. I hope so. But yeah, those are my predictions for week 2. Game picks and also, little key notes from week 1. I definitely appreciate you tuning in for another show of Karen Sports Podcast. Click the like, comment, subscribe button. Help to get 300 subscribers. Follow me on all social medias. Let's continue to grow and enjoy football season all season long. But this is your favorite host and your Cameron Lindsay of your favorite sports podcast. And I will catch you next time for another episode. Y'all take care.